Imagine getting a letter from your best friend. Now imagine getting that letter 2 days after you watch them lower his casket into the ground. That's the nightmare Marcus Webb just walked into. The bus hisses to a stop in Seaford, a town that looks like a postcard, but feels like a graveyard. The sky is a bruised purple, the ocean is restless, and Marcus is holding a creased piece of paper that shouldn't exist. The handwriting is shaky, but unmistakable. It says, "Marcus, I need your help. It's about what we did." What did they do? And how did a dead man find a way to mail a letter from the grave? Marcus looks up at the flickering neon sign of his hometown, and he knows. The man he grew up with didn't just die. He was silenced. But here's the thing about silence in a small town. It eventually starts to scream. Every step Marcus takes up the main street feels like a memory being rewritten. The old storefronts are slicked with new tourist paint, but the knot in Marcus's stomach only pulls tighter. He's not here for a vacation. He's here because the last time he saw Eric Palmer, they were 17 and full of secrets. Now, Eric is a suicide statistic, and Marcus is the only one who doesn't believe it. Think about it. 2 days late, the post office doesn't make mistakes like that. Not when a man's life is on the line. Someone wanted this letter to arrive exactly when it did. The question is, was it Eric or was it his killer? The Seaford police station is cramped, overbright, and smells like burnt coffee and heavy secrets. Chief Daniel Hargrove is waiting behind the counter. He's broad-shouldered, silver at the temples, and wears his badge like a shield against the truth. He flips through a thin manila folder. Eric's life reduced to 3 pages of paperwork. "Suicide," he says without looking Marcus in the eye. "Apartment, 3 days ago." Hargrove tries to act casual, but Marcus sees it. The faint sheen of sweat on the chief's upper lip, despite the humming AC. Marcus doesn't argue. He just slides the envelope across the counter. He points at the date. And in that moment, the chief's face doesn't just change, it freezes. Eric's apartment is on the 2nd floor of a weather-beaten building that looks like it's barely holding on against the sea salt. It smells like lemon cleaner and nothing. That's the problem. It should smell like Eric. It should smell like old books and unwashed coffee mugs. Marcus steps inside and the air feels thin. The place is unnervingly neat. Spotless counters, no dishes, vague rectangles on the walls where photos used to hang. Even the carpet has those fresh vacuum tracks. You know the ones. The kind that say, someone was just here and they didn't want to leave a trace. Marcus crouches by a cheap desk, running his fingers along the edge. He finds a single paperclip and an almost invisible smear of dried coffee. That's it. They didn't just pack Eric up, they erased him. Someone cleaned what they didn't understand. But then, he opens the one drawer they missed. Tucked in the very back, under the lining, is a loan receipt for a storage rental. Unit 47, dated exactly 1 month before Eric died. Why would a man who's about to commit suicide be paying for extra storage? Marcus looks at the receipt, then at the sterile, empty room. He realizes right then, this isn't a suicide case. It's a scavenger hunt, and the prize is whatever is waiting behind the orange door of Unit 47. Across the street sits a sagging Victorian house with peeling blue paint. This is where the only witness lives, Mrs. Agnes Keene. Marcus knocks and the door creaks open to reveal a woman who looks like she's made of glass and old secrets. She flinches when she sees Marcus's badge. Inside her dim parlor, among ticking clocks and porcelain dolls, the truth starts to melt. Marcus stood there in the room with her and just watched her speak.
He jumped. I told the police I saw him jump. But last time they came, I said he fell. And before that, I said I only heard the sirens.
She looks at Marcus with watery eyes and finally said,
They tell me some things are better forgotten.
Marcus leaves her house with a chill that has nothing to do with the ocean wind. He heads to the Mariner's Rest, the kind of bar where locals stop talking the second a stranger walks in. On the wall is a photo from 1995, a younger Chief Hargrove, a young Councilman Turner, and Eric, all smiling. The bartender leans in, his arms like hams, and gives Marcus a warning that tastes like a threat.
Best respect you can pay is letting the dead lie. Folks around here got long memories and short tempers.
Marcus doesn't look up from the photo. He realizes the people in that picture didn't just grow up, they took over, and now they're watching him. The next afternoon, the sun is a white glare over the highway. Marcus stands in front of Seaford self-storage, row after row of rust-streaked orange doors, baking in the heat. The air vibrates with the whine of cicadas, a sound that feels like a warning. Marcus hauls up the metal door of Unit 47. It groans, exhaling a breath of cool, dust-scented air. Inside, it's not random junk. It's a war room. One wall is covered in a hand-drawn timeline, photos, maps, and newspaper clippings all linked by red string. In the center, a headline from 20 years ago. Tourist girl killed in hit and run. Beside it, a younger Daniel Hargrove's yearbook photo is tacked up with a heavy black circle around his face. Marcus breathes out a name. Jesus, Eric. He realizes Eric didn't just lose a friend that night. He spent 20 years documenting a murder. He reaches for a box marked Witness Statements, but a shadow falls across the doorway. A cool, sharp voice calls from behind him.
That unit's supposed to be locked, Detective Webb. What exactly are you doing in there?
The shadow belongs to Councilman Blake Turner. He's the golden boy of Seaford, wearing a suit that costs more than Eric's life was worth. He doesn't look like a killer. He looks like a man who just wants his problems to go away. You're digging in a very shallow grave, Marcus, Turner says, stepping into the unit. He doesn't look at the evidence wall. He looks at Marcus. That girl, the one on the wall, it was an accident. 20 years ago. We were kids. High school royalty with too much beer and a fast car. Eric was there. Hargrove was there. I was there.
Turner reaches into his jacket, and for a second, Marcus tenses. But it's not a gun. It's an envelope. Thick. Heavy.
There's enough in here to start a new life, far away from this salt-rot town. Take it, and Unit 47 burns tonight. Eric's legacy dies, and you get to live.
Marcus looks at the money, then at the grainy photo of the tourist girl Eric never forgot. He remembers the shaky handwriting on that letter. It's about what we did. Eric didn't want Marcus to solve a murder. He wanted Marcus to provide the one thing Seaford never had, an ending.
Marcus didn't take the money. He took the box. Midnight at Seaford Beach. The waves are black ink, crashing against the jagged rocks. Marcus stands on the pier, holding the digital recorder he found in the back of Unit 47. He's not alone. Chief Hargrove is there, and Turner is there, surrounded by the silence they bought 20 years ago. "You think you're a hero, Webb?" Hargrove's voice is caught in the wind. "You release that, and this town dies. The schools, the funding, the peace, it all goes." Marcus looks at the recorder. He thinks about Eric living in fear for 2 decades. He thinks about the girl whose name everyone forgot. He doesn't say a word. He just hits play on his phone, connected to the town's emergency broadcast frequency Eric had spent months hacking. Eric's voice, thin, terrified but clear, begins to fill the air, echoing over the water, through the streets and into every house in Seaford. The confession, the names, the truth. Justice is a cold thing when you're standing in the ashes of the only home you ever knew. Marcus watches the blue and red lights begin to crest the hill in the distance. He turns his back on the town and walks toward the bus stop. Eric's letter was right. It was about what they did, but now it's about what happens next.